All right, so this would be the third part of this Ford 2011 F-150 5.0 6R80 transmission. So what I did is if you have to watch parts 1 and 2, especially part 2, but what I basically did, just look at the schematics here. All right, so if you look at the LPC circuit, line pressure control from the transmission to the PCM, all I did was depin it right here. So I got it out, right? So 12 volts will come in through the circuit and sit right here until the computer grounds it. So it's running. I got a new driver. And if you look, we got alternator battery voltage because, yeah, 13.7 volts. So that's good right there. And it's never going to pulse width modulate because we have it disconnected right here. It's never going to pulse width modulate because it's disconnected. I want to see if it drops out to 0 volts. So then I know it's on this side in the transmission, the solenoid or probably the lead frame. Then that tells me the computer side's good. So go ahead and drive and just yell out the gears that you're in when it yells. So it says first, he's in first.
Or second.
Second. Take a right up here.
What, the third?
Third. Downshift to the first. So it's shifting good. I mean, there's line pressure control circuits. Take the next left here. There's line pressure control.
Second gear right there.
Line pressure control codes. Open codes, obviously, because this wire's, disconnected, basically cut. So I want to see it drop out. And earlier, I didn't catch it on film, but I was just idling, and this thing dropped down to 0 volts until I restarted it.
Fourth gear.
There it is. Down to 0 volts. See that right there? That's what's happening. That tells me. Okay, slow back down. We got to slow down for the stop sign anyways. So it's in fifth. We're not using that to control it now, but why did we go to 0 volts on here? Nothing changed on the solenoid. It should be 12 volts the entire time because we isolated the wire. That tells me that the PCM is good. Go left here. It's downshifting.
Yep, third.
And it's downshifting fine. You're good, man. It's downshifting fine. Why isn't it being stuck in fifth? Because we took that circuit out of the equation. Right? We basically depinned it, cut the wire, right?
Third gear.
It's depinned. So he's shifting fine. You can good. You just drive normal up this highway. Just keep going straight. But right here it's 0 volts. Now, if this was connected back to the computer, then sorry about these bumps. Oh, look right there. Holy crap, that was cool. You hit those bumps back there, we felt it. It jumped up to 12 volts and it went down. So that tells me there's a loose connection. Because we're just checking the wire from right here back. It's disconnected right here. That's awesome footage there. Okay, slow down. Turn around up here, the next left turn. You know what I mean? So he's in 6th gear. Of course, the engine light's on because we're checking the circuit out of the equation. Yeah, let's go left here. We'll see if it downshifts. 5th, yep. 4th, yep. It's downshifting fine. If we had this wire hooked up, it would go into that getting stuck in 5th gear. You can go back to your house. So, actually pull over to the side a little bit and just stop. So we're at 0 volts. All right, so we're pulled over. Go ahead and put it in park. Okay, watch your foot down there. Turn the key off. Pull the key out. Goes, because there's a little bit of bias voltage. Open the door. Well, not bias voltage, just from the connection or bad connection. Shut the door. Turn the key on, engine off. Don't start it, just all the way on. Start it once. Still nuts. Turn it off. It should go to 12 volts right away. Pull the key out. Put it in. Start it. It's not going back to 12 volts. It's stuck in that position. It's definitely a loose connection. It seems like the warmer it gets, maybe the worse it is perhaps, and it's warmer today than it was yesterday. We're like 80 degrees, and it's getting warmer in the spring, summer here, and it seems like it's been getting worse. Go ahead and shut it off, all the way off. Open your door, cycle power, all that. Okay, shut the door. We're just going to let it sit for a second before you put the key in. Let it sit a little bit more, or start it up. It's not going back. Let's just drive back to the shop. It went up a little bit right there, you can see. But this should be 12 volts the whole entire time. All right, can you pull over to this next road right here? Just pull over to the side. I'm gonna make sure my connections didn't come unhooked under the hood. You just pull over, just don't turn, just go, yeah, there you go. Put it in park. And shut it off. All right, I checked the connections under the hood. We're still good. Go ahead and put the key in and start it like you normally would. Shut up a little bit. Now drive back to the shop. Or just drive a little bit and I'm gonna have you pull over again. So it's at 0 volts. Went up a little bit. It's real hashy and messy because obviously of the loose connection down there. And whether it's the bulkhead connector, the lead frame, something's going on. Now since we're parked, like I said, I was on this side checking this. Now I'm on this side checking this. So I'm just basically isolated from the transmission. And then that's why you get your bias voltage square wave from your computer. So that tells me the computer is good. Yeah, 2.1 roughly bias voltage. So that tells me the computer's good. Alrighty, I put the clip back on, the one coming from just the transmission, line pressure control. We had it off for a while, probably 3, 4, 5 minutes. Restarted it, now our voltage is good again. And that's what it needs to be. And then the computer would ground it and get your square waves. But if it should always be voltage up to the point of ground. All right, so our 12 volts is good again. Go back and drive back to the shop like normal. Let me know your gears. You're in first. It's shifting fine right now because it's just defaulting to another strategy because we're taking that sensor out of the equation.
2.
Shifting fine.
3.
Like I said, this would be pulse width modulating if it's hooked up to the computer. Boom, it dropped down a little bit. Shouldn't have done. There, it went
4.
to. Yep. We're shifting fine, but there you lost your voltage.
5.
And there should always be voltage feeding this thing from that lead frame. Already, I shut the camera off too soon. We're hitting some bumps coming into a parking lot here at the high school. And there's some speed bumps. We didn't even hit the speed bumps yet, but we came in the parking lot. If I back up, we hit a little bump coming in the parking lot. It went right up to 12 volts. So let's play it live again. So it's 12 volts. Just go over that speed bump. Not real fast, just straight over it, kind of.
See what it does?
Yeah. So 12 volts is good. Doom, it went down to 0. Holy crap. Okay, hang on a sec.
One more bump.
All right, it's a lot cleaner signal now because it was cleaner to, you know, when I first put the camera on because the connector did come off there for my oscilloscope. So, but before that, the other frame, it never came off. That was actually inside the transmission. So drive over the bump again. Let's go over. Because before it went up, it was down here and went up to 12 when we hit the bump, and then it went down. The one time it went down is because the connector came off, but when it went up, there was nothing wrong with that. It was definitely in the transmission. There, perfect. You're not going that fast, you're just going slow over, and it went to 12 volts. I can see the hash that tells me the connector is connected, and if it wasn't, you wouldn't have 12 volts. So that's good. So right now everything's good, and only from you hitting a bump. There, you hit a bump again and went down. It never fell off because you got hash. It went up again. It should be up the whole time. Why are we doing this? It's because of a loose connection. We're reproducing the loose connection symptoms. Let's go back around and do it one more time. So 12 volts is good. Sorry about the glare. And we're barely even hitting these bumps. We're just going over them really slow. So we're not hurting nothing. We're just like you would like going through a park or something. It's coming in the parking lot. Sorry, my camera's all over the place. So we still got 12 volts, and this is what it's supposed to be, and the computer would ground it. But you can see it jump up and down a few times when we hit these bumps. The only connection fall off once. That doesn't matter. There we go, it went down. Now it's bad again.
Not even 5 miles an hour.
No, man, you're just going a normal bump. So now it's bad again. Went up a little bit, but not enough. Still bad. I think the only way it's going to go back is up. We're going to have to hit a bigger bump or hit a little faster. Only because we're going really, really slow over these. Looks like we're going faster on my camera, but we're not. Or it looks more dramatic, I guess, but it's not because...
I can hit this one a little harder, see what happens.
Yeah, just at this speed, it's fine. There you go.
4 miles an hour.
Yep. There you go. Went back up. You fixed it! So yeah, there's the problem. It's a loose connection, and we're on the transmission side. Alright, so I'm just showing you on paper what I think most of you guys got it, but what I want to show on paper is this is inside. Imagine this guy. I'm trying to write and film. This is inside the transmission. This is that lead frame and solenoid body. So you got line pressure control, which is this one. You may have shift solenoid A, which is this one. But anyways, they all feed 12 volts to all these solenoids. Shift solenoid B, line pressure control, like I said, is this one here. So 12 volts comes in. Here's your solenoid. That's actually the solenoid in the transmission, and it sits and it's open right there. Inside the computer, this is in the PCM, right? So if you apply 12 volts here, that's what this is doing through all of these. There's going to be 12 volts sitting here all the time, and then the computer is going to control the ground. This is ground side control, or pulse width modulated, PWM. PWM. It turns it on and off real quick through a MOSFET transistor to control fluid pressure. Well, what we did is we basically cut the wire, or not cut it, but depinned it right here. So it's open there. So you always have voltage up to the point of ground. So we always had voltage here. Well, if it didn't drop off, ever, then we know it's something on the computer side, which it's not. Because it did drop off when we hit bumps, so it's something back here. Solenoid, which is new. Lead frame, which it's new. Could be the lead frame still. Could be the solenoid, could be wired inside, but it's definitely got to get inside the transmission. What I also did, I didn't show it on film, I showed it on film in part 2, is we wiggle this harness with everything hooked up and it never dropped away. It's inside the transmission. I may try tapping on the transmission a little bit, but it's not going to do much. You won't have to get inside the transmission. There's obviously a loose connection, that's why it's doing that. So, more to come on that. We're going to have to pull the transmission apart and get back to the lead frame and check all the connections in there. There's obviously something loose that's causing this issue.